Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
This is your theme
From
music.
Studio A in sunny Florida, welcome to Beauty and the Beach Radio, where it's all about who's beautifying Vero Beach. Today's show is brought to you by Dale Sorensen Real Estate. And here's your host and glamour girl, makeup artist, Cindy Getz.
Batter. Let's play some baseball, you guys. Oh my gosh, it is spring training. It starts this week, you guys. Oh my goodness, I love baseball. I love being outside. I love watching all the guys in their uniforms. Yes, I did say that. Come on, it's part of it. And I have someone with me today who I would have to say does love baseball more than me. And she, you guys, she was such a big part of baseball in our community in Vero Beach, Florida. For those of you that don't know, because we have lots and lots of people that moved here during COVID, previous to COVID days, previous to really, the last many years, I think it's maybe 8 years now. She'll correct me. She knows exactly. But we used to have the the LA Dodgers that trained right here in Vero Beach, Florida. They did their spring training, and she was a big part of that. And we're going to reminisce today because it is baseball week. It is baseball kickoff and spring training. So I am so excited to have, she is back here. She moved, but she is back here in Vero Beach on a little vacay, and I'm making her kind of work a little bit, although radio's not work. It's play. Please welcome to Beauty and the Beach Radio for the first time, Katie Siegfried.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here, finally on the show.
Finally. I
Thank
wish I
you.
could say I shipped you in just for this, but no, you were actually just doing a little vacay tour.
Yeah,
And I happen to be on the tour, so I'm very honored.
You are always on my tour.
I love it. So you live in California now.
I do. I'm back in Northern California.
Yes,
Yeah.
and very successful. You have a couple companies.
I do, yeah.
You do marketing. You do some wine labeling.
I do.
So very busy.
Very busy.
But I want to take people back to the days that you and I met. Okay.
The good old days.
The good old days. So, wow, it was a Chamber of Commerce meeting. You used to come to all the chamber events, and you were promoting spring training with the Dodgers.
Yeah, and Florida State League, too.
Yes, that's right. So take us back, Katie, because for those that are new in Vero Beach, they probably don't realize that, the Dodgers did train here. Tell them where where it is and what is there now. For those that never knew where the field was.
They started training in, please, if I'm wrong on this, it's 48 or 58. I can't believe I just went blank. I wish I had notes on that because it was the 60th when we left, and we left in 08. So, but yeah, it was Dodgertown, and, baseball started there. I mean, it's now called the Jackie Robinson Complex, but the reason they call it that is because that's really where Jackie broke the color barrier in baseball. So it's very cool what they did to it.
Very iconic.
Very.
I love how they respected that history and kept that.
There's so much history in that facility. So they've done a very good job.
Let's go back in time. So it's right off of, oh gosh, Sydney, maybe you can correct me. Right off of Aviation?
In 26.
Aviation in 26.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a baseball field. Of course, now it's a sports complex. So if you drive by there now, it is a sports complex.
It is. Yeah, it's grown quite a bit from when we had it.
Yeah. But let's go back in time. So when you showed up for work, you had a little office there, okay? And there was how many of you worked in that office?
At that point, there were, I think, 3 full-time, maybe 3 interns and 2 secretaries.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a small staff for what we did there. It was. And then we had Craig Callan, who also oversaw the facility. He was on, which we called the big league side. And so he was in the big LA building. But really, as a whole, there was probably about, I'd say 10 of us that ran all the operations out of them.
And then what was your main job, Katie, with the you did so much. I mean, what was your title? And then what kind of was your most responsibilities, I guess.
Probably. Well, at the end, I actually came to Florida they hired me to be their group sales and ticketing director, also to run their community relations department. What had happened is Dodgertown was so old school, let's just say, that until 2005, they had never had a ticketing system. And in our world, you need to see reports and you need to see what sales were in it. And I actually visited Dodgertown when I was in college, and you just tore a ticket off, and someone, you asked, they had their little envelopes out, and you walked up, and that's what it was. Well, they had to integrate it with Ticketmaster. And so that's really how I got my job. They called me and said, "Hey, are you interested?" And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't at first. Ticketing was not my forte. I said community relations was. My boss at the time, it was very cool. She was the first female GM. Her name was Emily. And she said, "Hey, I'll give you, the community relations department if you want it." And I said, "Okay." Well, I didn't know they didn't have one. So, so I got here, and then I kind of worked my way up to director. And then the final 2 years, I became a GM there with my other co-GM, Sean Moret. And we oversaw spring training, Gulf Coast League, rehab. But I would say my position probably would have been marketing, was probably my number one, marketing PR for them.
Absolutely. What was one of the things so special about the training at the Dodger Field? A lot of people said they love that the open pit.
Oh, the
that's
dugouts.
so old fashioned. Nowadays it's kind of it's covered, but they were right
the
there.
Only one ever. No facility, even college wise, did not have a dugout. So it was tough though. It was great. It was so intimate. Your access to the players is like anything you could ever imagine. But it was hot. Players wanted to be covered. You're in Florida, and as we know, like today, what's 82 here? It's in a 1:00 game. That's tough.
Yeah.
But Dodgertown was just plain and simple old school. It was old school baseball. There wasn't nothing changed. There were barracks and stuff before when the players were, first started, and then it moved into the hotel, and then of course, as it evolved, players were staying in homes around Vero and stuff like that. But you could just walk across, the campus, or, walk to the backfields, which are fields in the back. And players are right next to you. It was just, and I've worked in baseball for years, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever been through there.
So you really got to know the players. You really did.
You did. It was funny. Yeah. It just became, part of your life, and you're there with them for, especially your Florida State League guys, they're there from February 14th until August, and some of them, and they grow up there, and, you play the role of, they always laugh because I was a female. I played the role of mom, sister, and LA would call me and they need stuff done. They'd be like, "Can you talk to him?" And it's that kind of stuff.
That's
and
so great.
So you did. And we had fantasy camps there too. And you got to see some of the old guys that, I never in a million years would have imagined. I'm sitting with Ralph Branca, having lunch. And the funny thing is I grew up a Giants fan, a big time Giants fan. And, but the Dodger history is very cool, and how they, had it evolved in Dodgertown, and how the photos are up still. And it's really neat what they do there.
Who are some other notables that really left an impression with you while you worked with the Dodger organization? Who would you say really sticks out in your mind? That
player wise, or just
both
personnel?
Player or coach, or just anybody that you were like, wow, that was a great experience to know them? Or
there's a lot. One of them I would have to say is Kim Ng, who now is the first female GM of the Miami Marlins. That was incredible to get to work under her. There's a lot of stuff there. It was just, like I said, you met some of these, Hall of Famers, and it was just like, they are normal people. And in my eyes, I'm a huge sports fan. But when you get to work with them, even there's a couple times where you're like, wow,
even you are stargazed, even though you're
Snyder's standing right in front of me, and
gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, I was really lucky. How close, even because the hotel was there, and so the staff stayed on, the players, some of them during the summer, but
do people even remember Duke Snyder's, Cindy, you remember this? Snyder's hotel, right?
Yeah, it was a glorious hotel.
Yeah.
It's
called Duke Snyder's. That's great.
Yeah, and so, I always tell this story that one day I'm walking out of my office, and in Vero Beach, your office literally was my office door was the bullpen. And so I walked out one day to get to my golf cart, and Sandy Koufax is sitting in it. And I've got to go somewhere, but it's Sandy Koufax. It's just like, oh, I'm going to let you know.
Talk as long as you want.
Kept walking, doing my thing. But yeah, it was really cool too. You saw minor league players from like Clayton Kershaw in the GCL league, and he was a baby, and it was his first, his mom came to our, and I'm losing my
spring training?
The women's spring training. Yes, sorry. Thank you for that. Yeah. And, we get to see them grow. It's really cool to see the young guys who you had the moment they stepped off the plane.
Yeah.
Like Kenley Jansen, he was 15 and he's still in the big leagues now, but he was a skinny little guy who was, going to be a catcher. And and they turn into these, all-star players, and you're like, wow, and you saw them from the beginning. And I actually still have some great relationships with some of them. They keep in touch, and with social media and stuff like that, you've got to see them become men, and so it's been really cool.
And truly, you really do love baseball.
I love it.
She's here, and I'm like, so Katie, what are you going to do tomorrow? She goes, well, I think there's a spring training game tomorrow. I think I'm going to go there. And then she's like, oh, and then this one, I think I'm going to go to the spring training over there. Like she's all over the place and capturing it all. But one of my favorite memories, and this is really how you and I got to know each other, and you had just mentioned it, is you initiated a women's spring training with the LA Dodgers, and you incorporated, you had a few of the star guys, and some of them had already gone on to LA to start, but you still had some players that were notable players that were still there, and we were able to be on the field, and we were all in stations. Okay, I saw my T-shirt. You had T-shirts. I again
hot pink ones, right?
Hot pink, and it said women's spring training with the LA Dodgers or something like that. But anyway, you had us on the field.
Yeah.
You had us on the field that they train on.
Yeah.
You had some of the guys at each station. You had them at the pitching station. You had them at the home plate, outer field, the cages, and they literally taught us how to pitch, how to catch certain what do you call it, signs, signs.
Pitching sign.
Pitching signs or whatever. But they were there with us. It was the coolest experience, Katie.
It's really cool.
And I was there from the very first year started it, and I think you did it at least 3 years. My mom,
every year I was there. I don't know, did it start before me?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It was so much fun. And my sister came out.
My mom came
out,
and she came in from Virginia, and it was just so special. It was special to kind of be on that field, be with the guys, and they loved it. They really enjoyed it. I felt like they really enjoyed.
Yeah, and there were some old coaches that came out too, some of the big league coaches, and it was fun.
And then one year you had Carrabba's do the food.
We
afterwards.
did a couple of years. I think Carrabba's was the official sponsor.
Yes, it was so
great. Are they still around?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And they fed us amazingly, and we sat at picnic tables, and oh my gosh, it was such a great experience.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And it was one night, after the game, and players, we got to come over, and they loved it. And like I said, I mean, not many women are going to know that, but Clayton Kershaw was their coach there. Like his first year. So Don Mattingly's son came out. We had a ton of them that year, and they were all young. We didn't know what was going to become of them, and they had some amazing careers. So that was fun.
Yeah, and you loved every minute, and you were so good promoting it. You and your sidekick, Betty.
Yes.
We'll have Betty on the show next time. But Betty is known as Miss Baseball in Vero Beach. She is just a wonderful and loved the Dodgers so much, and
she was a good. She did a great job.
She really did. So
I think she was there for over 21 years. She told me. A long time.
Wow, that is a long time. So then fast forward, they moved to their camp to Arizona.
Yeah.
And then of course your job title changed, and you're now in California where your family is.
Yep.
And you're doing your own thing now.
I am. Yeah, I got out after that was over. I worked for Major League Baseball and went overseas and helped them start a league over there, and then I just started my own marketing business. It's really hard to get out of sport or get back into sports once you've gotten out. So you had to, redesign yourself and figure out what you're going to do. And marketing and PR were my background. So, but I have a lot of connections still within the game. Even through marketing, I work with former players and, some of their community relations stuff. I still take part in golf tournaments and stuff like that to help. So I'm very involved still in baseball, just not as involved as I was before.
Oh my gosh. Favorite memory being with the LA Dodgers for spring training. And it could be, a situation where it was something for your job or maybe afterwards. I know,
I tell this story a lot, actually. So there's one with Tommy Lasorda that's pretty cool. So I grew up a Giants fan, diehard Giants fan. I bleed orange and black. Like, yes, to be honest, I didn't want to work for the Dodgers. I didn't.
Conflict of interest.
It did. It killed me, right? I mean, my first day, there was the season ticket holder who gave me a jersey, and I said to myself, I had to put it on.
Cheating on them.
It hurt inside. I'm not gonna lie. But I was out on one of the backfields, and Tommy Lasorda walked by, and he said, he grabbed my cheeks or something and said, "Oh, that's a really pretty smile." And I said to him, "Oh, my parents paid a lot of money for these braces, these teeth or whatever." And so we kind of had this little banter back and forth. And then one day he stopped me and he said, "I hear you're a Giants fan." And I said, "Yeah, I am." And I said, "But you know what?" I said, "They're the team that made me fall in love with the game." And he looked at me, tapped me on the shoulder and said, "That's a really good answer," and walked away. So I just felt like, I was blessed by the king of Dodger baseball after that. So those little interactions are stuff that I'm very, very lucky that I got. And just little stuff like that. We used to drive the players around on golf carts, and you'd have I went to Arizona State, so Andre Ethier, who played with the Dodgers for years, was also a Sun Devil, and I'd have him next to me and we'd be chatting about college days, going on. And we do this thing called the fork at ASU. And every time he walked by on the field, he would do that. And Luis Gonzalez was from Arizona. And so there's just these bonds that kind of you develop and, and a respect for each other. And I saw him one time getting off a plane in Arizona, and, I didn't think he was going to remember me, but literally he's waiting for someone and I was getting off the plane and came up and gave me a big hug. And it's it's just, you're a family.
Did he do the fork?
No, he did not do the fork. He did not.
All
but
right. Hugs better. Hugs better.
But it's just, you earn respect with each other, and baseball is a huge family.
Yeah.
Because you spend a lot of time with each other.
Sure.
Yeah, the hours are long, and they're long days. We'd get to the field at 7 and wouldn't leave till midnight some days. So,
wow, that is insane.
So yeah, you spend a lot of time with each other. But you have some great memories too.
And you still keep in touch with a lot of the administration.
I do, some of them. Yeah,
you were texting a few while you were here visiting with me.
I was, and I had seen some during the winter meetings this year, and. One of them, his name is Chris Haydock, who works for Major League Baseball, who's done incredible things. He had mentioned to me, he said, "Had you been back to Vero Beach?" And I said, "Oh, a couple of years ago." And he said, "You need to go see that facility." And so I went and picked Betty up, and she and I went over, and then we went the next day and got a tour. And it's the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. They're doing incredible things over there. So it's pretty cool.
And I was so happy to hear you say that, because it is a special memory for you.
Oh,
the Dodger, facility and stadium, and now it's Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, training complex. And it's like you're endorsing it. You're like, okay.
Yeah, I was just... And they kept it special. There's a lot of things you said they kept kind of sacred and special.
They did. We had a Holman Stadium sign that was in the front, and they moved it, a little in by the batting cages, so that those little touches are still there.
Yeah.
It's funny, my first year there, we incorporated a Hall of Fame for the Vero Beach team, and we made these, little arches. And I noticed that they'd kept the Hall of Fame arch up, and I even asked their new GM, I said, "Oh, the arches are up." And she's like, "Oh, we're going to keep them." So little stuff which also makes, the people of Vero happy. And taking Betty back there was exciting, and she got to see that we're not losing everything here.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, the little touches were cool. Very cool.
All right, we're doing some Dodger talk, but we got to go to the next inning, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Waves Auto Spa, known as Vero's fastest and finest. A car wash known for their quality equipment and attention to detail by a friendly and courteous staff. Waves offers soft cloth technology, and a top-notch detail center will help preserve the value of your car. Waves now offers windshield chip repair, and in most cases, it doesn't cost you a dime. Spend less time and get a better...
Evergreen Media, based on your business goals. We'll create a mix of digital advertising on social media sites like Facebook, video advertising on streaming sites like Hulu and Paramount Plus, and supplement them with local TV and radio ads. Build awareness, educate, and inform the public with a cohesive marketing campaign by Evergreen Media. Check out egreenmedia.com or search online for Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
For those tired of staring at laundry as it piles up, the answer is usually putting it off as long as possible. For most, there's not just another minute to squeeze into a day to get the laundry done. Sunshine Laundries can help. This is Tom Rhodes, owner of Sunshine Laundries, with a reminder that 5 of our locations offer drop-off service. We'll wash, dry, and fold. For locations and hours, we're at sunshinelaundries.com, and with laundromats all along the Treasure Coast.
Blue Dolphin Pools strives to provide quality service with a well-trained staff in the field and in the office. They want you to know that your pool or spa investment means much more to them than just another account. They believe you have entrusted them with your investment, and they'll do their best to see that it stays in top condition. Blue Dolphin Pool has been in business over 35 years, setting them apart from the competition. Residential or commercial, Blue Dolphin will keep you in the swim. 567-5853.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're in the 8th inning or 9th inning.
Ninth.
9th inning. We're in the 9th inning. We're talking about baseball. We're talking about when the LA Dodgers were here in Vero Beach training. I'm here with Katie Siegfried, who managed the spring training here in Vero Beach. But before we close out, I do want to thank Dale Sorensen. They always make sure that we're on air and we're always able to promote those beautifying Vero Beach. So Dale Sorensen Real Estate, thank you so much for always making sure we're on air. Also want to shout out to Varietals. Varietals always make sure we have a great beverage for our guests. And, you know, it's always theme related. And so we came up with, dun, 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 it's called Moundsman. Okay. So it's a red. And because, you know, the pitching guy is on the mound. Thank you. Thank you. So go get your bottle of Moundsman. Oh, Katie's like having to give me cheat notes over here. Okay, so that's it, Varietals and More. Thank you so much, Rob and Michelle. So, Katie, is there any, I know you're kind of like the limo driver. You're not really allowed to tell any secrets or stories.
Gotta go to the grave with me.
But you guys did have a good time. Let's just, they were just.
We did.
Yes. And I think, is it safe to say a couple of their favorite places to go in town to eat or drink was Bobby's and Riverside?
Yeah, and Riverside. Yes.
Were those the two go-tos for them?
And that was the really cool thing about Vero is that, and I grew up around spring training, is that people didn't really care. You could go and you could be whoever you were.
Yeah.
You know, they saw you and they're like, oh, it's so-and-so, but you still were left alone. And I think that's what they really, really liked about it.
Now, doesn't Bobby's have pictures of a lot of the players in the
I think it's all
in the
over.
lounge?
I know I haven't been back. Last time I was with you. But yeah, they used to have, all those memories were there and the memorabilia and stuff like that. But they loved it. Oh yeah. They like sitting at the bar and, they loved going to Riverside, sitting outside. And what's the one on the beach? Mulligan's?
Mulligan's,
is that still there?
yes.
Loved that.
Yes.
They loved just, because you watch the waves there,
Yeah, absolutely.
Ocean Grill. And yeah, that's one thing they always said. Vero had some good little, hidden secrets that they could go to.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, I know you still have a big hand in sports, and you actually handle somebody in sports right now with your wine company. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I did. I've incorporated that, some private labels with 2 former athletes. And so it's been fun. Yeah. Wine is very big. People love a good wine. So everyone wants to have their own brand. So it's been fun.
All right. Are we going to have a Katie brand?
Oh, maybe. She's thinking about
what would she call it? Or we can't say on air.
I don't know yet, but it's fun working in it. So it might have,
It has to have a baseball theme, I would think.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like you said, I work with Greg Vaughn. I wouldn't say I work with Greg Vaughn now, and his label has baseball themes on it. He's a former player, and so I've gotten to incorporate that. So that's cool.
All right, yours is next.
We'll see.
All right, you guys. Katie, thank you so much.
Of course, thank you. It's been so fun.
We love you. All right, take care, guys.